Hello everyone. Here I'm going to explain how a simple CI/CD pipeline works. Here I'm going to use our product recently released called Tusker Gauge. It is deployed on top of AWS EC2 instance using Docker containers. What the Tusker Gauge does is it helps the users to just assess their current maturity of their CI/CD, DevOps, or DevSecOps pipeline. How it is internally working is the user can just mention their email address and select the certain categories over here. You can see that there are 11 categories here now. It will increase further. And after selecting the categories, they have to just answer the queries one by one, which gives a lot of information and insight into your existing CI/CD, DevOps, or DevSecOps pipeline, how you're doing it well. So there are totally 6 ratings you can give, starting from not doing, which is 0 rating, and it goes till 5, which is visionary. So explanation for all these are mentioned below, and you can also get more details about each of these checks by clicking here. Will be pointing you to with more detailed information about, suppose you are not doing or you are a novice, how can you become an expert or visionary? That is explain it over here. You just need to click on this I symbol for each of this questionnaire. Now coming to how our CI/CD system works for this Tusker Gauge, which is very simple. We have only 2 microservices running. The source code is somewhat like this. It goes like this. This is a bit more detailed version. I put it into VS Code. Source code comes like this, and the directory structure, it is having a Docker file and Nginx config. Configurations are mentioned over here. And now coming to the backend, it is a Python-based application, fast API application in the backend running that supports APIs. And frontend is a React.js-based application. And let me just start our CI/CD pipeline. Before that, let me make some changes, small change in the code base and commit the change. Then I will trigger this. After that, I'll go deep into how it is actually happening, how the installation goes on. That I'll be explaining in detail. So now let me just make some changes, push the change into this repository in the GitHub, and trigger the pipeline manually this time. So I have added what change I'm going to make is like here you can see in the Tusker Gauge, there are only something like 11. You can see last is security over here. I'm going to add one more questionnaire. So for that, I have to I have a lot of questionnaires ready. Just I'm reviewing, adding. It is a lot of work, adding that, reviewing it, and adding. So today I made one more item ready. So that comes under data. I just kept it like this. And here I've added something like cost questions. And the category for that is cost optimization. So I'm going to add this into the React.js code. It comes like this. All these are configured over here. I'm just going to add one more category here. And comes like this. I just added one more category, which will be the 12th category. I've just saved it now. I can obviously do my local testing, how it comes. So this is a local version. It's running on top of localhost using npm. And let me just quickly verify whether it has come over here. You can see it is coming here. If I select, I can also see some questionnaires, which is not available in the current one. You can see which is in the production. It does not contain the cost optimization. So now let me commit the change. So here you can see I added one line. Cost optimization, and then I'm just committing and pushing the change. Yeah, let me just add this into the. I'll stage the change now and now committing and pushing the change. it is going on, and you can see that it is done. And if I come to the code base and do a refresh, you can see that there is a change has come here, as now you can see over here. And now let me just start a pipeline which will deploy in the production. So what I have done, what I have to do is like the pipelines scripts are here. So it has, I have to select the the branch and the production. So we can have any, that many number of branches or that many number of product environment that we can configure in the pipeline. It is written in that way. And just I'm doing a run workflow. So this is nothing but it is triggering a list of operations. What I will be going to explain that now. And now it is going to go to the, it will connect to the machine, AWS machine, which is over here. This is our AWS instance. It is very simple T3 micro instance. I made the application fine-tuned in a way that it works on very small configuration machine, which is purely a free tier environment. I am not having any cost burden except some EBS storage cost. Overall, it is running like this now. And now during the deployment, it will be connecting. It is doing some operation, it's checking out, and it is creating image, and it is updating the image, and then it is going to restart. So let me show you the workflow file. It will do something like this. It is right now doing an environment creation, Docker image creation, and it will finally run a deploy command, which will run a Docker compose. And during the Docker compose, it will bring up the restart the service, and it will bring up the service back online. So now coming to how this, or how, what is this Tusker gauge infrastructure looks like, or how it is actually working. So here I have done DNS registration hostinger, and even I have some machines there. But right now for this particular demo, all the production environment is kept on the AWS. So hosting is acting like my DNS server, and whenever we give tuskergauge.stontusker.com, it will connect to the hostinger DNS server, and then it will get IP address, and it will connect to this reverse proxy, which is Nginx over here, which is also a container running in the same machine. So totally 3 containers are there. In fact, 3 microservices, you can call it. And Nginx is there, which is just forwarding the request based on the type of the request. If it is a front end request, it will forward to the front end container. Otherwise, if it is an API or initiated by anyone, it will go to the backend fast API based application. And it also has an SQLite application right now. Maybe in future, once load increases, I will have to expand it further to a higher end machine and use a PostgreSQL or something like that database. But right now, the application works pretty well. And how it happens now is like every request will come and hit directly on frontend, or like this, it can also connect to the backend from Nginx. It can forward like that. How the CICD pipeline works for Tusker Gauge is like this. This screen we are just now seen. How it is configured is like a slightly different approach. There are multiple approaches for connecting a GitHub runner or GitHub machine. One is like everything happens from another intermediate machine, or which will directly connect, which I do not find it so secure and making it complex. So here it is with more secure approach where GitHub runner agent is installed on this machine, this AWS EC2 instance, and that is always connected to the GitHub. And whenever we are initiating a pipeline, it is going to connect to this, or it is going, whatever connection is established over here, it will come and it will do the operation what is mentioned in the GitHub Actions scripts. That is what is right now happening. Since it is not so much, it's very low, very small free tier machine, it is going to take some time. almost 4 minutes. But depending on the speed, I mean, if we are having higher end machines, this can be made much more faster also. So now, let me come back to the slides. So how it is actually working is like it will come to the GitHub will be, you will see that GitHub will be now initiating a connection and it will be creating a Docker image and it will do the configuration, for example, Nginx and all those things on need basis. It will change some global variables and then it will stop all the containers and we use Docker Compose, and Docker Compose scripts are mentioned here. I'll just show those things over here also. So here we have a Docker Compose scripts for Nginx and also for the production. So this is how it is looking. So what it does is like it is optimized in a way that it can run on the small machine as well, and it will start and stop. And the instructions to stop and start is mentioned in this deploy.sh. So in a way that it is a monorepo where we are keeping all both the front end and back end and even the Nginx config in the single repository. And now let's see. So you can see that now the pipeline execution is over. You can also see that execution is complete and it was successful. Now let me see what is the change, whether the change has occurred or not. So I'm just now doing a refresh. So it is supposed to load the application now. And I'm trying to do a verification. You can see that a cost optimization has come. So normally we have to select minimum three category, but even you can select one just for testing purpose, only for this. So you can see that it has created this. I'm just giving some random values and then give how the application goes on. So it takes some time for us to do this review one by one. There's a lot of information added into this Tusker gauge. Yeah, so it in fact works like this. So if you're actually reviewing this using this tool, obviously you will require some 15 to 20 minutes minimum to do this activity and to select at least three categories. So you can see that for this, whatever information I selected, I'm able to see the score. It is somewhat like score available in our schools. So this is very simple test. So I just created a PDF report. It's basically a very simple test. But if in the real report, if you select more than three, you will see also a radar chart. Those and report will be a bit more useful to even compare. So yes. So in short, this is how the deployment happened. And you can find that the Tusker Gauge application has come up with the change what I made in my code base as a developer. So that is how it is working. So I have given a demo about what is Tusker Gauge and what are the three microservices running for Tusker Gauge. What is a CICD pipeline using GitHub Actions, how it is working, how it went and deployed into the EC2 instance over here, how it built and executed and deployed, and we have come up with a new change over here in the production. Thank you very much.